So this one is from the first time I traveled, and I don't know, I don't like talking about bad experiences, but this may be considered a bad experience by anybody else other than me. So my first trip, I went to Curacao. On my first trip, I went to Curacao, and I was a travel virgin then, but I knew I wanted to go somewhere. So I called up my travel agent, and he said, hey, some girls are traveling to Curacao. They're going to shop on the free zone. You could go with them since you're not familiar with where you're going and you've never traveled before. And so that was when I was, I don't know, 22 or something. All I know was that I wanted to travel, and I had a really good job with the betting, gaming, and lotteries commission, so I could travel. So I was like, I grew up in this neighborhood. I was not used to nobody traveling anywhere, but I am going to travel. And so I hooked up with these girls. I met them at the airport, and we went traveling. And so they were there to shop, of course, because, you know, back in those days, we used to do buy and sell. And so I went with them on this trip, and it was great. We stayed at what's called a guest house. So it's like somebody has extra rooms. It's typically similar to the Airbnb now. Back then, Airbnb did not exist. But it's similar to that. Somebody had a room in their house, and they put like different beds in, like, I think we were all in this one space with a bunch of beds. It was almost like a hostel. And we found our own meals for the first 2 or 3 days, but on Sunday you get one meal included in the price. And so we went to karaoke on the deck, on the banks of this river, and we all became friends with the DJ from the karaoke, and it was all great. One day we were walking in the town after we had finished shopping on the free zone. I remember we stopped at McDonald's to get something to eat, and back then I didn't know McDonald's because I don't think we had McDonald's in Jamaica at the time. So we stopped, at least I know what it's sold, but I don't think I'd ever been there. We had Burger King or King Burger in Jamaica at the time, but I stopped at McDonald's and we had something to eat, and we ran into the DJ from the karaoke. So we were all walking down the street, the DJ, because we were Jamaicans. You know, wherever Jamaicans go, we are exotic to everyone. Everybody want to talk to us. They love the accent. They want to hear everything. So we were walking with the DJ, and of course, he took a liking to me. And so when he walked us to our guest house, and when we got back, the girls went inside, or ladies went inside. They were all mature women with kids. Well, one of them was young with kids, and the others were mature with kids. But I was there young and fresh and green with no kids. He took a liking to me. And so we stood outside of the guest house talking. We lost track of time. We talked and talked and talked the entire night. I did not know what time it was, and I did not know what the curfew was for this guest house. But I was literally outside the door. The woman locked me out. When I was trying to get inside, I knocked and knocked and knocked, and nobody would open the door. And I knew they could hear me, but they were spiting me. Lord have mercy. I was like, what am I going to do? I am locked out of this hotel, guest house. Nobody's answering me. And the DJ was very nice. He said you could walk across the bridge, because if you know Curacao, like the downtown or the main town is separated by this river with a huge cruise ship coming. I'll talk about it in another video. He says right across the river you could just go stay the night at the hotel. And I went over there, and he paid the front desk, and he left because he's a night radio disc jockey, so he had to go be on the radio. So he paid for the hotel. He told the person where my hotel was, where I was supposed to go back, and to direct me in the morning. I swear it sounds like a movie, but it really did happen. I don't believe I've ever told anybody in my family. I don't tell my family stuff like this. They worry too much. But sometimes you are around someone and you can feel like the person is a decent person. And then again, it's a judgment call that you have to make. Decent or not, you just have to make that judgment call. This palm tree is so beautiful. It should be in my background. And these are beautiful. Can you tell I'm a Gemini? Okay. And these are beautiful too. But maybe I'll try this one in my background for a change. I like green. So yeah, decent gentleman. He paid at the desk, and I stayed at the place. I was more afraid being in the hotel by myself than I was that somebody had paid for me to stay at the hotel. And I was afraid of going back to the I was afraid of going back to the guest house and, you know, whatever the girls were going to say and what they were going to think. But the guy was just a nice person. He was a DJ. He was on the radio the night. He had to go, and that was that. But yeah, the next morning I crossed back over the river. I went back to the guest house. I got in, I got my stuff, and I think that was the day we were leaving too. And that was it. And he said if he got the time off the radio, he would have met me at the airport. But he didn't. But he gave me his number and we spoke after that. I still remember his name, even though his name is in Dutch. I don't remember if I know how to spell it in Dutch, but I know how it's spelled in English. But it was such a long time ago now. I don't even know if he would even remember me if he saw me, because I was in my 20s. And I'm going to look for the video of my first trip. In my next video, I'm going to talk about, so back to bad experiences. For me, the lady not letting me in was a bad experience. Meeting someone and seeing the kindness of strangers was not a bad experience. So in everything there is good and bad, and if you choose to focus on the bad, and it will be a bad experience. For me, it was an enlightening experience. It wasn't a bad. It added to the richness of my experiences and my travel experiences. So I'm pretty sure this has never happened to anybody else, but it happened to me and I'm happy for it. In my next video, I'll talk about my best experiences, a couple of them. So I'm Gail. Thanks for watching.